Imagine standing by the river weir at dusk. The water dark, the air heavy. You hear something beneath the current. Not fish, not wind. Something long, something coiling. You tell yourself it's only a story, that dragons belong to distant lands. But in the north of England, they say something different. And it began with a boy. In the north of England, where the river Wear bends through green countryside and old stone churches lean slightly with age, there is a story about a boy and a mistake. A small, careless mistake that grew and grew until it wrapped itself around a hill. This is the legend of the Lambton Worm. It begins in the 12th century. A young noble boy, John Lambton, skipped church one Sunday morning. Instead of kneeling in prayer, he went fishing in the river Wear. The water was quiet. The mist lay low. He cast his line and caught something strange. Not a fish, not an eel. Something writhing and small, no longer than his hand, black and slick, with a wide, tooth-ringed mouth. Disgusted, the boy flung it into a nearby well and forgot about it. But some things do not like to be discarded. Some things grow. Years passed. John Lambton left home to fight in the Crusades, and in his absence, something began to stir. Livestock vanished, milk soured. Villagers whispered of something moving through the fields at night. Then they saw it. A monstrous, serpent-like creature coiled around Penshaw Hill. Its body thick as a tree trunk, its skin dark and glistening, its breath foul. It slithered from the river, it crushed crops, it devoured cattle, and when brave men tried to kill it, they failed. Because every time they cut it, it joined back together. Blade after blade struck the worm, and every wound sealed as though it had never been made. The creature wrapped itself around a rocky outcrop near Lambton Castle. It would unwind at night to feed, and in the morning it coiled again. The people tried everything. Spears, arrows, prayer. Nothing worked. The worm could not be slain, because the boy who cast it aside had unknowingly given it time. Time to grow, time to harden, time to remember. John Lambton returned from the Crusades to find his homeland changed. Fields barren, homes shuttered, fear thick in the air. When he learned what had happened, he understood something terrible. The worm had come from him, and it would be his to face. But first, he sought guidance. John went to a local wise woman, some say a witch, and asked how the worm might be killed. She told him this: he must wear armour covered in sharp spearheads. He must fight the worm in the river, where its body could not coil as tightly, and he must strike until the pieces were small enough to wash away in the current. But she gave him one more warning. After killing the worm, he must kill the first living thing he saw, or a curse would fall upon his family for 9 generations. John agreed. He stood in the river weir, armoured in spikes. The worm descended from its hill, sensing him. It wrapped around him with enormous force, squeezing, crushing, tightening. But the spearheads tore into its flesh. The river ran dark. John hacked at the creature again and again. This time the pieces did not rejoin. The water carried them away, and the worm was no more. Victorious and exhausted, John staggered from the river. His father had arranged for a dog to be released toward him, so that John would fulfill the wise woman's condition without harming a person. But as John emerged, the first living thing he saw was not the dog. It was his father, and John could not raise the sword against him. He spared him, and in doing so, sealed the curse. The legend says that for 9 generations of the Lambton family, no heir died peacefully in his bed. Each met a violent or tragic end. Accidents, battlefield deaths, unnatural misfortune. Whether coincidence or curse, the pattern clung to the family name. And people remembered, because some monsters die, but consequences linger. The word worm in Old English did not mean earthworm. It meant dragon, serpent, a great coiling beast. The Lambton Worm may echo older dragon slaying myths like St. George or Norse serpent legends, but this one feels different because it begins not with prophecy but with neglect. A boy skipping church, a strange creature thrown away, a problem ignored, until it became too large to face. Even today, Penshaw Hill stands in Sunderland, and locals will point to its curve and say, that is where the worm wrapped itself. The river still flows. The countryside is quiet again. But legends do not dissolve so easily, because the Lambton Worm is not just a monster story. It is a warning. Small things grow, mistakes linger, and what we cast aside may one day return, larger than we ever imagined.